Good afternoon, it's Stacey Ashley here, and what better thing to do on a Sunday afternoon than go live? Hey, welcome if you're live, and if you're watching the recording, of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments. Today's topic, we're doing episode 4, all about relationships, which such a key thing in 2020, and I think more of the same in 2021. The people who surround us and who we connect with make such a powerful impact on just about everything we do. Humans by nature, we're tribal, and so it's so important. If you haven't seen the first few episodes of the summer series, then check them out. I've posted them all back into the events, or you can see them on my feed. So again, welcome, and I can see comments coming up already, which is amazing. Okay, let me just, hey, Chufal, great to have you here. So I don't know about everybody else, but I know for me, we've had some challenges because we went back into lockdown over Christmas and New Year, but today we were allowed to go out, and so that was pretty exciting. So went out with the family for breakfast. I've had a really long walk today, and really enjoying it. Anyway, let me share with you what I want to go through in today's live. I reckon about 30 minutes is about how long this one will be. And so what I want to cover today on this topic of relationships and network is just why is it so important to make sure that we have really robust relationships and the right kind of relationships. Who do we need to think about including in our network, and to what degree do we want to be able to foster and support and nurture those relationships with people? And then really what's next? So now that you have that information, what do you do with that? So I'm going to talk a little bit about what to think about and what actions you might want to consider. So again, welcome, and I would love to hear your thoughts and comments. So what prompted me to include relationships in the summer series? And just to check back in, if you're not aware, so I've been, the summer series is 12 episodes, all about getting you ready for the leadership challenges of 2021, making sure that you come out of 2020 taking all the learning, taking all the great things that have happened, that you rest and recuperate in the opportunities that you have, and that you're set up to be really effective and successful as a leader and ready to face, the new challenges that we have with 2021. There'll be some that carry over from 2020, and then there's going to be, I guess, some slightly different ones, because I think there's a bit of an expectation that we'll get to the end of 2020 and 2021 is going to be all fabulous. What I think, though, is that what we're going to see is that people will start off really energized and focused and that sort of thing, but actually they're going to get tired quite quickly, because the short holiday over Christmas and New Year wasn't actually enough to recover from a year's worth of, having to respond to a crazy situation. So there are 12 episodes. Last Wednesday we did reflect and review, which was all about taking some of the wins and what's working from 2020, so we can take that forward. But today is about relationships, and the reason that I've included it is because I've spoken to so many people who've talked about how their relationships have changed, how the level of connection has changed with the people around them through the course of 2020. And of course, there's a lot of research to back that up as well. So some of the things that people have said is that while they communicate a lot with people, and of course everyone's been Zooming and on Google Hangouts and MS Teams and all that sort of thing, they're communicating a lot, but they don't necessarily feel as connected, like they have the same level of intimacy in their relationship, that they're really knowing what people are feeling and what's going on for them. And so that's one thing that's come up. Of course, one of the benefits of, having to respond to the pandemic conditions of 2020 was that many people ended up working from home for substantial periods of time. And that gave them the opportunity to really have more time with their family and to really connect and feel much more connected with their family and the people that they kind of live with and have the closest relationships with, which is really lovely and wonderful. But the flip side of that has been that other relationships, so whether it's your social connections or your work connections, have actually felt less connected. And so the research by Glint that came out, I think, late August, showed that more than 30% of people feel less connected with their team, and more than 35% of people feel less connected with their leader. And so as a leader, you have a really big part to play in terms of actually, renewing those connections, renewing those relationships, both for yourself and for your team, but also looking at critically, who do you need to have in your relationships, and and where's your energy best spent? There's lots of reasons for having good connections. Of course, if you have a great, strong, robust network, you've got a great support structure around you, and you're also able to contribute into that. You're able to source information and resources and that sort of thing when you need it. The other thing, though, that I think is really important, and this work actually, research comes from the Eye Opener Institute, who are based in the UK, and it shows that those people who have a robust network, both inside and relationships, both inside their existing organisation, but also beyond the borders of their own organisation, tend to be more effective and more productive and higher performers, and get promoted earlier, are liked better, get paid more, lots and lots of things. So there's lots of good value and reasons for having a strong set of relationships around you. Hey, Adolf, great to see you here. Jamaica, lovely. So I think the other thing I wanted to talk about really briefly is the work of Robin Dunbar, who's an evolutionary anthropologist, who shows that, as humans, we work in groups. We work really effectively in groups. And so this is one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today was, how do we know who to include in our relationships, and what should we think about? So I'm just going to pop up my iPad here for a second. There we go. Okay. And so what Dunbar's work shows us is that, there are kind of circles of relationships that we need to focus on in order to optimize those relationships, and how we can actually connect and relate to the people within them. There's kind of optimum numbers that we can cognitively cope with. And so, oops, wrong pen. Let's just try again. There we go. Okay. And so in the middle, our closest relationships, the ones that, we spend the most time with, that probably have the most impact on us, and that we feel most connected to, there's about 5 people in this group. And typically they might include family members, maybe your best friend, a really influential mentor, something like that. But they're the really, really close relationships. The next group, and this is really important, particularly as a leader, this group of people are going to be really influential and really impactful in terms of your ability to do what you do best as a leader. And there are 15 people in that group. And that sort of number is the one that we operate most effectively with. We really get to know those people. We know what their strengths are, and we know what we can offer, and in terms of value and contribution. And that's, what they can do for us as well. And that group of 15 people will include, again, potentially people like your family members, but, mentors and teachers and peers and perhaps team members. And there's a whole combination, but they're the people that we spend the most time with. And, they have real influence and impact on us, and we do on them. The next kind of broader group is a group of 150. And this, again, comes from Dunbar's numbers. So this group of 150 is kind of our extended network of people that we can call on, people that we can contribute to. And this is the number, this 150, that really is the maximum number that cognitively we can cope with in terms of actually having defined and established relationships with these people. And so this group of 150, within that, the 150, the 15, the 5, these are the relationships that we want to nurture and understand and be able to actually, work with. So I'm hoping this is making sense. Let me just pop that away for a second. So why we have it is so we can do our best work. That's why we have relationships and connections, so that we've got access to resource, support, that we're able to contribute, that we can gather ideas and information, that we can hear what's going on around us as well. Those things are all really, really powerful. It's also potentially where we draw inspiration from, energy from, focus, all of those sorts of things, where we feel like we can help as well, super important as people. And so we have these relationships of 5, 15, 150 that we can contribute to, and sort of start to think about, how we nurture them. But who is it that should be in our 5, 15, and 150? And it's going to be different for everyone. But what I want you to think about is this. I'm just going to share a different screen. And I'm going to pop up here, and I'd love to know your thoughts about this one as well. Okay. Well, if I've sort of adapted Dunbar's numbers and said, well, okay, we've got 15 key people in our close relationships. What are the 15 types of people that we might want to consider? And so I've made a list of them, and these are the people that you consider. Who is it that I need in my network if I want it to be robust, if I want it to support me, if I want to have those quality connections that I can contribute to, and that they can contribute and offer value to me as well? So again, welcome if you're live. And if you're watching the recording, love to hear your thoughts. And so some of the people will be, of course, your family, your friends, your team, your peers, your leader, maybe teachers, mentors, coaches, associates, partners, also customers, stakeholders, providers. There's lots of people that can be incorporated, into your key 15 and key 150 relationships. And so when you think about this, when you want to create, this really great little ecosystem of relationships and network for yourself, these are some of the people, like, who is it that you think of as your mentor? Who is it that you learn from that's a teacher for you? Who's in your team? Who are your real peers, both within and outside the organization? Who are your industry associates or colleagues that you really want to have connection with? And of course, the essentials outside of work, in your social network and your family and friends. But from a leader's perspective, we really need to think about how do we give ourselves that support structure that we can turn to when we need it, when we're challenged, when we need a sounding board, and also who are we prepared to support? We want to be able to help them out as well. So that's just a few ideas in terms of who you might like to think about when you consider that broader network, remembering that connection is such a vital part of being human, and being part of something that's bigger than ourselves. Okay, so then the thing is, we've got these people, and you might identify a whole kind of group of people. The thing then, though, is, what do we do about that? Because what you might recognize is that, there are some people that you'd really like to have in your network, but you don't feel like at the moment, perhaps they're really part of your network, or they're really that you're being active with them. And when I was writing my first book, this little technique was shared with me, which is about how you sort of assess where are people in your network right now. Are they people that you have frequent contact with, or not as much as you would like to have? And in order to have a robust and reliable relationship that you can call on, or that you can contribute to, that you need to do a little bit more about that. And so I'm just going to pop up my iPad again and share with you a way of looking at your network, or how your network's actually supporting you at the moment, if you like. And so let's see, let's draw 3 circles again. And I'd love to know how these kind of ideas are resonating with you. So we've got 3 circles. representing, I guess, different layers of our network. And so because of that, I'm just going to draw them into different colors. What have we got? Like a blue. This one can be kind of a orangey color. And this one's going to be red. Okay, so in the middle, in the red, that's the hot zone, the active zone, the people that are probably closest in your network that you have really strong relationships with. And I'm just going to draw actually a line right down the middle here, because this is the current state, and this is the future, or the state that you want your network to be in. So in the middle is our hot zone. That's the relationships that you're actively, putting energy into, that you feel like it's robust. You know that you could rely on those people can rely on you. Then we've got kind of the amber zone, and this is maybe people who you have contact with, that they're not quite as close, but you still have, a reasonable amount of contact regularly, enough that you feel like you're contributing to the relationship, and that, the relationship, you can rely on that relationship. And then we've got the cool zone, which is maybe acquaintances, people that you know about, but maybe you're not actively interacting with them. They're people that, you might want to call on in future, you might want to support in future, you might want to learn from in future, those sorts of things. And so when you think about who's in your 5, 15, 150, the people that you would like to be in those spaces, where are they now? So where are they sitting? And so you might say, for example, you might have, like your best friend might be in your hot zone at the moment. Your leader might be here. But then perhaps you've got peers that are a little further out. Perhaps your team's in your hot zone. You might have some peers that are even further out in the cool zone at the moment. Yeah, because you're not really engaging in the relationship. You're not really, offering value into the relationship. I don't know where your customers would be. Maybe there's some customers that are kind of in the cool zone. There might be some that are in the warmer zone. You might have stakeholders, and you would be putting their names where I'm writing categories. You'd be putting the names. Who are the people that currently are in the hot zone you interact with, you put energy into the relationship? Who are in the warm zone, and you might be comfortable with them in the warm zone. You don't need them to be interacting all the time. You just want to know that it's a solid relationship without having to put all your energy into it. And then the cool zone maybe are the people that are sort of in your broader network, but you're not actively interacting with them. And then you've got, so that's the current state. That's on the left-hand side of the circle. On the right-hand side is where do you actually want them to be, each of these relationships. And so what you might find are that you want to move your customers perhaps a little bit more into the amber. You might want to move your stakeholders into the amber. You might have some people who you feel like actually you need to move them out a little bit because you put a lot of energy into it, and actually the relationship in terms of the value that you have to offer them and the value that they have to offer you doesn't warrant that level of investment of energy. And so you just kind of look at where is everybody and where do I need them to be? Again, best friend, your leader, hopefully you'll have family, of course, in here, and so on. Your peers, where do you want them to be? Do you want them to be in that the hot zone, or just in the warm, in the warm zone? So just think about who are the people that you need to have. So who are the people in the 5, 15, 150 that you would like to have? And then at the moment, where are they sitting? Are they out in the cold on the outside and you actually need to warm them up a little bit? or are they in the hot zone? And in fact, you don't need to be putting as much effort into that relationship because there are other relationships that need more effort from you, because you're finite. There's only so much energy and focus and contribution to relationships that you can make. So you do need to choose how you invest yourself into those relationships. So let me just get rid of that one. And I'd love to know, what are you thinking of this? Okay. So I said that I'd share with you why it's important, and there's lots of really important reasons for having connection and relationships and making sure that you've got them in place to support you through 2021 and beyond. We're going into the marathon of change now. So 2020 was a sprint, 2021 and beyond is the marathon. And so you need to set yourself up for that by making sure that you've got a really good support structure around you. Who do you want to be in that really intimate circle of 5, in your 15, in your 150, the relationships that you want to support and put energy into. And then what do you do next? Well, that's really about what's the state of the relationships right now and what's the state you would like them to be in, cool, warm, or hot. And that's just one way of looking at them. And then, make decisions about, okay, so if something's in the cool zone at the moment and it needs to warm up a little bit, what can you do? Is it an email? Is it a phone call? Is it a note? Is it, sending some information, of value, an article or a connection? Is it just a quick hello? Is it a text message? There's so many ways that we can, make sure that we connect with the people around us to let them know that we're thinking of them, that we're here, this is what we're working on, finding out what they're working on. There's lots of ways that we can contribute to a relationship, and it doesn't all have to be big and take a lot of time. People just like to know from time to time that, you cross their mind and you're wondering how they're going, or if you need help. And also people like to be asked for help. People like to help, so don't be afraid to ask the people in your network. So again, thinking about, who's in the right zone at the moment, whether it's cool, warm, or hot, and who needs, who do you need to move into a different zone? Maybe there's some people that you would want to build that relationship because you feel like maybe you've got a lot to learn from them, or you've got a lot to contribute or value to offer. Or maybe, you're over investing in a relationship at the moment that's not bringing you the value that you had hoped for, or that, maybe it's not as relevant as it was 3 years ago. And so, you just change the amount of energy and focus that you put into it. But in that way, you're being really proactive about making sure you've got the right kind of support structure around you. And as I said, in terms of your ability to perform, to be productive, to step up as a leader, having the right kind of support structure and relationships connection around you is really going to help you with that. So again, I'd love to know your thoughts and comments. That is what I wanted to cover today, just to get you thinking about and reflecting on the state of your relationships. How is your network supporting you? How could it be supporting you? And what can you do about that so that you're in a better position going forward? Because it's all about, you need to set yourself up to really be able to step into your leadership as we move forward, where we've got a world that's changed dramatically and will continue to change. And so as a leader, you need to step into that space and figure out how it is that you're going to make all of that work for you so that you can work for your people and serve your tribe. Okay. The next episode of the summer series is on Wednesday morning. That's Wednesday morning Sydney time. And we are focused on reassess. And reassess is about looking at your career in the context of your life. Just a moment to stop, check in, make sure you're on track, and you may have nothing to do, or you might have something to do or something to think about. So I'd love to see you then. And for the rest of the summer series, we're going through till the end of January, twice a week, Wednesday mornings and Sunday late afternoon. And I'd love to know your thoughts and comments on today's episode or previous episodes. In the meantime, though, have a terrific few days. Enjoy the weekend if you've still got a little bit of weekend left. And if you've got questions or thoughts, pop them in the comments and I will come back to you as soon as I can. Otherwise, look forward to chatting with you on Wednesday morning, if not before. Bye for now.